This is the StarCraft2Forum.org Mega PC Tournament, sponsored by NVIDIA, Antec, Razer, Patriot Memory, and Shock's StarCraft 2 Guide.
Yep. So we're on to Game 2. What game are we watching?
We're on to Game 2 in the match between Doublespeak, the Terran player, and Lazee, the Protoss.
There we go.
Game 1 was really exciting, and I'm really interested to see how Game 2 goes. Game 2 is going to be on Lost Temple, and anyone who has ever played any Blizzard RTS ever should know what Lost Temple looks like, but we'll go over it anyway.
So we have Doublespeak as the Blue Terran.
Once again.
Spawning at the southern location.
Right.
And Lazee as the Green Protoss in the north location.
Okay.
Alright.
So the basics of Lost Temple, it's a very simple map, very standard. It favors an economic game because of the fact that the natural is so easy to take and very easy to defend with a very narrow choke and a long choke leading to it. So,
and really, it's just such a big map.
Yes.
It's huge.
It's very big, and also, especially on in starting positions like this, both of the players are opposite positions. So that means that they're going to have the longest possible walking distance on the map, and it's going to really favor them possibly getting expansions and building up and playing on a macro style. And it's going to be weaker to rush, because by the time you get to your opponent's base, they might have defenses in place already.
Although the one thing that I always love on this map is sometimes you'll see people using these cliffs to really screw with your natural expansion. Yeah,
that's really cool. There are definitely some technical aspects to Lost Temple. It's not purely a macro map. But yeah, and those cliffs are one of them. Another being the islands. It's very easy to sneak an island expansion and especially as a Terran player and really steal an advantage that way.
So we do have Lazee coming in for, it looks like, to be the first scout against his Terran opponent before the walling gets sealed. So he's going to get in there and possibly stay in there for a little while, trying to get as much information as he can. And that SCV coming out right off the bat to try to push this probe away, get him out, not let him see anything at all. And wow, it works.
Yeah,
he was terrified.
That probe was scared.
It's like the chicken probe.
You know, it's kind of funny because a lot of players are used to running probes away from SCVs. They used to be much stronger in StarCraft 1. But as it comes to be, probes are actually stronger than SCVs in StarCraft 2.
Because
a probe can't win in a straight-up fight. The SCV will win. But because shields regenerate so fast out of combat, it's very easy for a probe to scoot away, scoot back in, and kill the SCV.
So we do have actually the same build for Lazee as before, right? Gateway into Cyber Core with second gas going down. So I wonder,
but that's an incredibly standard Protoss build order, so it could lead into anything. We still can't, you can't judge it based off of that early Gateway Core.
So hopefully he'll mix it up a little bit here, as Void Rays on this map, I feel good about them if you're harassing an expansion here, but in this area here, I question their efficiency against a mobile Terran army, because there's really no place to hide.
Yeah.
There's no place to charge up your charge. And once you're in the base, if you want to do damage, you have to stay far in the base, and you really risk losing them to any kind of marine, even a small group of them.
That is true. There is that cliff behind the main bases, though, and I do like Void Rays on this map in close positions, but not so much in the long positions here. And yeah, I guess the Terran player built the wrong add-on, so he decided to rebuild it. It looks like our opponent is going to be proxying us. Our Protoss player is going to proxy Stargate. That's so cool. I like that.
Or at least it's a little bit different than last build.
No, I think it's really interesting because he's proxying it behind the high grass, so it's going to be very unlikely to be scouted. It's far enough away from the cliff that it's not going to be seen.
Yeah, by any supply depot.
By any supply depots on the edge, and also it overcomes the fact that they're long position from each other. Beautifully. I think this is, I want to see that work, because that's such an ingenious adaptation to scouting your opponent long from you.
And with this SCV scouting the main base, he will not have seen that. You just have to hope that he does not, for any reason, scout behind this grass here, which is very rare anyways. It looks like he's not going to, so he's not going to have any clue.
There would be no reason normally to scout there, which is why it's such a well-placed proxy. I really do like that positioning tremendously. The only downside to that is that you're going to have to secure a huge advantage with that Void Ray, because that proxy is going to be revealed and not be defendable. It's essentially, if he defines it, that Stargate's essentially going down.
Well, at this position that he's placed at, it might, he won't even really directly know. A player that's not heavily experienced won't even know that it's coming from a different location, and he might not even understand the timing of it.
That's absolutely right.
He didn't see the Stargate here, and that maybe it is a proxy. So this could really catch him by complete surprise, but these Void Rays do need to move in quickly, because
I think you're absolutely right about that, Guns Akimbo.
There are two barriers with 2 reactors, so you're going to see so many Marines, and Marines, again...
This is a very similar build to what the Terran player did last build, which is build a few barracks with reactor cores just to get that insane amount of infantry units down as fast as possible, and it really messed up Lazee last game.
So it looks like Lazee is transitioning into a 3-gate build. Hopefully you'll see a 4th gateway get pulled down.
Yeah.
Maybe force the Terran to respond to the Void Rays while going for a heavy ground army.
I do feel like that Void Ray is being a little bit wasted as it's sitting there right now. He's not producing a second one, and the one that he has built is essentially just doing nothing. It's not capitalizing on that investment and the resources spent building that early starport.
Yeah, and risking the starport in that location. The whole point of the proxy is to catch them off guard and quickly.
As fast as possible, yes.
So now, he's going through the motions of a good play, but not following up on it.
Yeah, you really need to commit with that with any sort of proxy build. It's important to leverage an advantage as fast as possible. But the Protoss player is getting a Templar Archives, which is going to be amazingly good against the Terran infantry, because those Templar are able to cast Psystorm, and really a Protoss army can defeat a much higher food count Terran army with Psystorm. It's just such a strong, powerful ability.
But the Terran player getting that scan in just as the Templar Archives was going down, so he knows exactly what's going on with this, and really he doesn't need to know about that Void Ray. But we see a heavy Terran push coming up.
I think that Doublespeak is thinking he needs to push now before the High Templar get onto the field, and now that he's pushed, that Void Ray is coming in. That's actually pretty clever usage of the Void Ray, taking advantage of the fact that the Terran army is now longer in its space, but moving across the map.
I wonder if he's going to push out using great use of the
force field to ramp. Beautiful! Oh, I always love to see that, because now the Terran army is stuck. His command center is being fired upon by the Void Ray in his base, and he's in an awful position. Those sentries are going to be able to hold the ramp at the Protoss base indefinitely.
He needs to put a force field down right now, and... No, using a scan to get some sight, but there we go. No, is that going to be enough to hold it off? Okay, it is. I'm sorry I doubted you there, Lazee, because that was a very, very, very nice move.
A few units are going to be able to peek through, but not the Marauder, and now he's going to be able to sort of cut the Terran army in half and take it apart piece by piece. He shouldn't move too far forward, because now he's letting all of the enemy units fire upon him, and he lost both of his sentries, so he's no longer going to be able to hold the ramp with force fields. And it does look like he's going to allow his Void Ray to be killed also by the Marines in the Terran base. But maybe not
yet. Oh.
But this is so much happening all at once.
Now Lazee needs to pull back a little bit, wait for one more round of warping, and then take this force out.
The Void Ray has been lost in the Terran base, and I don't think he has enough sentries to take on this force of Marines. The Marines are just so strong and can do so much damage so quickly. And now more reinforcements are coming. This is starting to look bad for Lazee.
Lazee really needs to bide his time. When you're in this kind of situation, you need to pull back, bide your time, do not panic. Pull back, lose some structures if you have to, but only engage when you are ready to engage, because right now...
Actually, those 3 Zealots might make all the difference in the world.
Oh, but there's just too many Terran units.
Zealots are so strong. Never underestimate the power of the Zealot.
But with Marauders there to slow them down, they are just not able to get up in front in time to do the damage they need to.
But this is going to still be very close regardless, and 3 more Zealots being warped in. I think that Lazee has held this.
But we do need a sentry out quick, because there are more Terran units on the way. He needs to hold this ramp. He cannot afford to lose any more units. He needs to build
but the Terran has lost so many SCVs. I just noticed that the SCV count is now 29 in favor of Protoss to 6 workers for the Terran. The longer this game drags on, the more Terran is going to be favored, and he's going to easily be able to outproduce the Terran in terms of reinforcements. As we can see, the Zealot count is just skyrocketing.
Look at the income tab. And
income is dramatic. It shows the dramatic tail.
800 income versus 400,
and that's with mules for the Terran. This is just a sad situation for the Terran. That was an epic exchange, but the Terran just lost too many SCVs to the Void Ray attack.
Now this probe just hanging out, seeing what's coming up next. Again, Doublespeak does need to rebuild as many SCVs as he can. He has to use this moment to seal up his main, which he has just done, go into defensive mode, and try to recover from losing all of his army and all of his economy.
And Lazee capitalizing on that perfectly by expanding, because he knows his Terran opponent has to rebuild now, and knowing this so strongly as a solid player, expanding while his base was still even under attack, getting that expansion up as fast as possible.
Now peeking up the ramp here, going to try to take out some of these structures.
He's just keeping the pressure on and forcing the Terran to continue to make units and not SCVs. This is beautiful. I'm so impressed. And here comes the
Terran
High
force.
Templar.
Oh, do we have enough for Storm? Oh,
the High Templar sniped by the Terran. Nice control there by Doublespeak.
That's exactly what he needed to do to hold this force back.
Yeah,
sniping
absolutely.
that unit right before it had enough energy to cast a Storm.